You've watched a truck driver on a highway on ramp, grinding through gear after gear, the engine climbing and dropping like a mechanical heartbeat, trying to find its rhythm. Meanwhile, your car made the same merge in third gear. A Porsche 911 reaches 150 miles per hour with 6 gears. An 18-wheeler needs 18 just to reach highway speed. Why? Most people assume it is because the truck is heavier. That assumption falls apart the second you look at the engine. The real answer has almost nothing to do with weight. It has to do with a physical limitation inside the engine block, so narrow that engineers had to invent one of the cleverest mechanical workarounds in automotive history just to deal with it. And by the end of this, you'll realize that every product you picked up at the grocery store this week rode through those 18 gears to get to you. The answer has 4 parts, and the first one most people give is actually wrong. But let's start there anyway, and watch it fall apart. The obvious answer is weight. A loaded semi weighs 80,000 pounds, 25 times heavier than a Corvette. Of course, it needs more gears, but weight only explains why the truck needs low gears. It does not explain why it needs so many. The real reason lives inside the engine itself. A gasoline engine in a sports car revs from 2,000 to 7,000 revolutions per minute and makes usable power across that entire range. That's a window of about 5,000 revolutions per minute. A diesel engine in a semi makes its power between roughly 1,000 and 1,800 revolutions per minute. 800 revolutions per minute of usable range. Outside that window, the engine is either lugging or screaming. Each gear covers a specific slice of speed. If your engine has a 5,000 revolutions per minute window, each gear covers a big slice. 6 is plenty. If your engine only has 800 revolutions per minute, each gear covers a tiny slice. You need far more of them. And diesel engines are trapped in that range not because of a design flaw, but because of chemistry. Diesel fuel does not combust as quickly as gasoline. The burn time is nearly ideal at around 1,800 revolutions per minute. Engineers did not choose that number. The fuel did. Therefore, 18 gears are not about the weight on the trailer. They are about keeping a 13-liter engine inside a power window, narrower than your car's first 2 gears combined. Drop below that window, hauling 80,000 pounds up a mountain grade, and you do not just lose speed, you lose momentum entirely. 40 tons decelerating on a 6% grade. But here's what makes the 18 gears genuinely strange. The truck does not actually have 18 separate gears inside, not even close. The Eaton Fuller 18-speed transmission, the backbone of American long-haul trucking, contains a 5-speed main gearbox bolted to a 4-speed auxiliary section. The auxiliary has a range selector that flips between low and high and a splitter that divides each position into 2 sub-ratios. 5 positions, 2 ranges, the splitter. That is how you reach 18 speeds without building something the size of a refrigerator. The lowest gear has a ratio of 14.4 to 1. The highest gear is 0.73 to 1, where the output spins faster than the engine. The total ratio spread is 19.7 to 1. A Corvette Z06 has first gear 2.97 and sixth gear 0.56. Its ratio spread is roughly 5.3 to 1. The truck covers nearly 4 times the range, with steps between gears of only 17%, so the engine RPM barely drops on each shift. But here's what nobody mentions. Truck transmissions are unsynchronized. No friction cones matching gear speeds for you. The driver double clutches, pumping the pedal twice per shift through neutral matching engine speed to transmission speed. Or they float it, shifting without the clutch at all, using nothing but throttle control and engine sound to land in the right gear. 18 shifts from a dead stop to highway speed, by feel. This 19.7 to 1 ratio spread, controlled by a driver's right hand and right ear, delivered everything in your refrigerator this morning. But this transmission, the one the entire freight industry was built around, is vanishing faster than anyone outside the industry realizes. To understand why, you have to understand how it became essential. Go back to the early 1950s. Most trucks had 4 or 5-speed transmissions. Routes were shorter, loads lighter, and highways were 2-lane roads topping 50 miles an hour. Then Congress passed the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956. The interstate system did not just add lanes, it added distance. A truck could run Chicago to Los Angeles without stopping for a town. Loads got heavier. Engines got bigger. But the diesel power band did not get wider because it could not. Chemistry, not engineering. So transmissions got more complex. Eaton's Road Ranger compound design became the standard. 10 speeds became 13, and 13 became 18. And every one of those shifts had to be executed by hand, without synchronized gears, using double clutching. Clutch into neutral, release, blip the throttle, clutch in again, and slide into gear. 1 shift. Now repeat 17 more times before reaching highway speed. Miss the RPM match, and you hear metal teeth grinding against metal teeth. The gearbox remembers. That damage shows up 1,000 miles later as a bent shift fork. The best drivers floated their gears, matching engine to transmission speed by sound alone. You could tell a trucker's experience by one thing: how quiet the truck was during acceleration. Then around 2005, automated manual transmissions arrived. Volvo's iShift, Detroit's DT12, Eaton's UltraShift. Same compound gearbox, computer-controlled shifts. In 2005, over 95% of Class 8 trucks were manual. By 2021, Volvo reported 95% AMT adoption. Daimler went from 15% in 2012 to over 90% by the late 2010s. Meritor stopped building manuals entirely in 2006. In 15 years, the skill that defined the profession went from essential to optional to forgotten. Here is what nobody puts together. That 800 revolutions per minute window, the 19.7 to 1 ratio spread, the compound gearbox, did not just shape trucks. It shaped how everything you own got to you and what you paid for it. Roughly 72% of all freight tonnage in America moves by truck. That is the circulatory system of the economy, and it ran for decades on a driver's ability to match engine speed by ear. The switch to AMTs, or automated manual transmissions, improved fuel efficiency 2 to 5% per truck. Across 3.5 million Class 8 trucks, that is billions of gallons over a decade. The chronic driver shortage the industry has fought for years was partly driven by the barrier to entry. Double clutching, an unsynchronized 18-speed transmission, took months of training and years to master. AMTs dropped that barrier overnight. And electric semi-trucks don't have a gearbox at all. An electric motor makes full torque from 0 revolutions per minute. There is no power band limitation. The problem that created the 18-speed simply doesn't exist for an electric motor. The 18-speed was never about the truck. It was always about the fuel. You watched that truck on the on-ramp grinding through gears and thought you were looking at a big vehicle with a complicated transmission. But what you were actually looking at was a diesel engine trapped in an 800 revolutions per minute power window, a compound gearbox with a 19.7 to 1 ratio spread, a driver performing a precision mechanical dance the industry spent 70 years perfecting and 15 years automating out of existence, and a physics problem so fundamental it determined how every product in the American economy gets from warehouse to shelf. That grinding sound isn't struggle. It's a solution engineered around a chemical limitation of diesel fuel itself. You're not watching a truck shift gears. You're watching the physics problem that built the American freight system. And if you think 18 gears is complicated, wait until we get into why every airplane you have ever flown on starts its engines with a controlled explosion of compressed air.